Welcome to Turkistan TV News. United Nations Human Rights Chief criticized over Uyghur investigation won't seek another term. Bachelet says her decision to retire is unrelated to the criticism toward her visit to China. United Nations Human Rights High Commissioner Michelle Bachelet announced Monday she'll not be seeking a second term after a botched envoy to determine the veracity of Chinese human rights abuses. Bachelet was criticized by human rights groups worldwide, who says she took a weak and unaggressive approach during her trip to China to investigate the country's Uyghur detention facilities, where reports of hard labor, torture, and even forced abortion have been reported by escapees. However, before she even arrived, Bachelet tempered expectations and refused to call the visit an investigation. Bachelet was hampered by severe restrictions on her autonomy, which the Chinese government said they put in place due to COVID-19. Instead, the trip, which took place last month, was operated and guided by the Chinese government. Bachelet failed to meet with a single Uyghur detainee, nor members of Uyghur families inside the country. As my term as High Commissioner draws to the close, this Council's milestone 50th session will be the last which I brief, Bachelet said in a speech to the United Nations Human Rights Council. 2 months ago, before even going to China, I made a decision and I informed my boss, the Secretary General Antonio Guterres, so it has no relationship, she later told the press. Bachelet faced warnings from human rights activists that moving forward with the trip despite severe limitations on her access could harm the United Nations credibility moving forward. Should the High Commissioner fail to obtain the necessary access for the meaningful investigation, the credibility of the office could suffer lasting damage. The ability for UNHCR to secure meaningful future investigations may well be compromised. The Interparliamentary Alliance on China told the Guardians, COVID restrictions must not be deployed as a reason to excuse the PRC, People's Republic of China, for failing to allow a meaningful investigation. Bachelet's commission is currently working on an updated assessment of human rights in China, which is expected to be published in the coming month. However, given the lack of direct observation and virtually no investigatory independence, many wonder how complete a picture it will paint of China's abuses. There were limitations, especially given the prevailing COVID restrictions. I was accompanied by government officials throughout the visit to Turkestan, so-called Xinjiang province. Bachelet said of her visit to China, I was not able to speak to any Uyghurs currently detained or their families during the visit. China has been accused of wrongly imprisoning up to 3 million Uyghurs in East Turkestan, as well as carrying out forced sterilizations and abortions. Chinese authorities claim camps in the region are re-education facilities combating Islamic extremism. President Biden signed the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act in December, a bipartisan piece of legislation that prevents the importation of goods made via the forced labor in East Turkestan. Iltaber from East Turkestan TV News reported.